Folletti's, good to see you. 1 second. I'm just getting this set up. Un momento. We just did the pot and popcorn over on what is that thing called? On the Discord. We watched some movies, smoked some pot, and I am currently quite high at the moment, which is wonderful. I'm glad it's legal here in California. If it's not legal where you are, I don't recommend it. But well, there's the old son of a bitch. Hello, Bukaki, piece of shit. And Nick Wiley, good to see you again, buddy. Yeah, no, there was a large amount of pot inhaled, and the thing is, I don't do a lot of pot, and I was never a big pot guy. So I don't have a lot of, I don't know. The point is, I don't do it a lot, so I'm affected by it, right? Which is the fun part. But I don't recommend doing it a lot. But every now and then, it's not bad. Bukaki knows he's in a rock and roll band. I used to have a marriage therapist, couples therapy, whatever it is we went to. And he was great, I guess. But then one day, he's an older guy at the time. We must have been in our, 30s, and he was in his 60s. And he revealed to us that he was in a rock and roll band. And that was enough. So I'm not going back to him. He's in a rock and roll band. Happy birthday, Bradley. Brad Skaggs' birthday. It's cliche, but I think I'm 53. I don't really know. You do get to a point where you start to say, I don't remember how old I am. That's a real thing. Creeping Death says, hello, Jaffe. I'm a big fan of the Twisted Metal games. Well, I'll tell you what Stan Lee told me when I met him, and I said, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. He said, well, and you should be, son of a bitch. Thank you for that, though. Thank you for saying that, Creeping Death. On behalf of all of us who made the Twisted Metal games, and there were quite a few of us, not as much as it takes to make a game today, but back then we had probably a team of about 30 people. Let me tell you something. Now, the first Twisted Metal was probably only about 14 people. But that was a game that cost $850K. And they sold it for what? $49 is how much PS1 games? $39. Sold at least full price, 600,000. You do the math, only because I can't do math so good. Vigilante 8 says Wallace had 5 people. Well, yeah, but that's what happens when you choose not to put gameplay in your game. So you don't need as many people. Mitch says, Jaffe, listen, man, I'm playing Dragon Age Veilguard, and where'd it go? And I love it based on your recommendations. And I picked up Star Wars Outlaws on Black Friday. Love your content and always get stoked when you're on Sacred Symbols. Thank you, buddy. I'm so glad you're exactly. So Dragon Age Veilguard, man, it's a fucking fun game. Jesus, people are losing their shit. It's a fun game. It's got some really fun combat and exploration. It feels like a good adventure. Let me know what you think on about Star Wars. I loved it. I know they got a bunch of updates now. Jaffe, love your collabs on Last Stand Media, and one day got to find a way to beg you to come on my show to talk Atlas. What? Love that you have enjoyed their game. Oh, Atlas, the studio. I thought you were calling me Atlas, like you were giving me a nickname, like we were pals. What did I like of theirs? Well, I loved, wasn't Rainbow Unicorn theirs? And was there another big game they had out this year? But I love that fucking game. Why you not enjoy the Cap 4 trailer, says TJM. The wings and shield against the Hulk looks badass. It just, I don't like Anthony. Is it Anthony Mackie? What's his name? Anthony Mackie. I don't like Anthony Mackie so much as Captain America. I just don't. I think Captain America, what I love about that character, whether it's Steve Rogers or not, is it's a character who really personifies positivity and hope and all that shit. And it's not that I don't appreciate the narrative of a black Captain America that is very patriotic, but at the same time struggles with the fact that he's a black man in America. I get the nuance or the not so nuance. I appreciate it at a narrative level, but I just don't enjoy that depiction of him, you know, even though I think it's really interesting. And so if you take that out, you've just got kind of just an action movie, which is fine, but you know, I'll eventually see it. Dexter's Joe says, is it weird that in games, the directors, creators of the IP don't get the same credit as an author of a book? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Frankly, every studio and publisher has their own way of, you know, expressing it's not like a union where it's like, this is what a writer does, this is what a director does. It's a little more defined than it used to be, but not much. So, you know, I get credits as lead writer or writer, you know, creative director, lead designer. I mean, I'm so maybe I don't fully understand your question. Shut up, Nick Wiley. Hey, I didn't quite understand Alex's pitch about the AI and the death. Metaphor and unicorn. Okay, gotcha. Do you make money from remakes, Oh God, no. I make no money at all from that. But I mean, I don't, you know, I was never promised any money. So I'm not like pissed about it or anything. Jonathan Walton, but I'd love it. It'd be great. Is Dragon Age Veilguard a good intro to the series? I couldn't tell you that because my understanding is, I only played Inquisition, and my understanding is 1 is very different than 2, is very different than 3, is very different than 4. So I came into 4 without having finished Veilguard, which I liked. I don't remember any of the Veilguard narrative, so I would say you'd be fine. It does seem to be telling a story that started in Dragon Age Origins, so if you're into that necessity of getting everything before you catch up, sure, but you certainly don't need to figure out what's going on and enjoy it. Last Outlaw, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. He says, do you believe in ghosts and you have any ghost stories? I don't believe in ghosts, probably. I mean, I'm agnostic on it. I've never seen one. I love the idea of ghosts. I fully have no clue if we retain any sort of consciousness when we die. But even if we do, I don't assume that takes the form of the kind of ghost that we're usually pitched in stories. But I love weird stories and ghost stories. I bought a book last night called The Catholic. Let me see. Let me tell you what this was called. Catholic. The Weird Catholic Handbook is what I bought last night. And it was written by a Catholic guy who is really into his faith. He's a devout Catholic, but he's also really into ghost and weird shit. And he goes through centuries of Catholicism narratives and kind of talks about the really weird, strange shit. And there's a section on ghost stories. And he was talking about these possessed, not even ghosts, demon possession. So this is in the 1800s, and they were possessed garden shears that apparently was decapitating the animals of a farmer. And they had to bring out these exorcisms to sort of stop the ghost from killing animals and eventually people with these garden shears. It's written like it actually happened. That's pretty cool. But I don't, yeah, I would love to see ghosts. That would be fun. But so far, no. Ollie says, do you have any interest in Keeley's Game Awards? Yeah, I think any kind of award, I don't take any award seriously that's given out for subjective things like creativity and art and entertainment, but I enjoy his show a great deal, not just because the trailers, but it's fun to watch with the chat and the stream, and it's fun to talk about and debate about and stuff. But I don't believe in awards. I mean, I've won awards for creative stuff, and it's like, okay, I mean, thank you. It beats the, not being talked about with your work, but the idea is it's so the essence of an award show of creativity I don't like, but I do enjoy the entertainment of his show. Astro Bot not adding Sweet Tooth just to add current day jazz. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I really doesn't bother me if they don't put Sweet Tooth in Astro Bot. Their excuse is weird, but I don't give a shit. Put them in, don't put them in, whatever. Ghost might be a different dimension, says Darth Nugget, or beings that exist on a different plane of existence. Sure. Absolutely. I mean, I am more inclined to believe that there is or multiple planes or dimensions that we don't see, that we are sharing a version of physical space with to some degree. And maybe those are things that we see that kind of branch over and stuff from time to time that explain at least certain phenomena. But I don't believe, it's not believe, because I don't know, but I've never had any reason being alive on this planet to assume that the stories of like, this is a vengeful ghost and, he won't move on until he gets revenge. No, I've never seen anything like that. Because I mean, if that existed in reality, it would be like the greatest thing in the world. It's like, great, you're a vengeful ghost. Can we talk about this? Can we get this on tape? Can we talk about the fact that there is an afterlife? I mean, science and the government would be all over it. But no, I don't believe any of that. But it'd be great if it's true. I heard a ghost moaning in my mom's room last night. Yeah, I don't think that was a ghost. I have a weird book that tells me how to summon weird ghosts and demons. One of them involves watering a decapitated head for 3 days, says Brad. That's very healthy, sir. That's very, very, very healthy. John O says, I woke up last night and the ghost of Gloria Gaynor was at the edge of my bed. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified. Listen, Jono, come on, man. I get it. I'm 50-something years old. You think these fucking children on the internet get it? I don't know. I'd be impressed. Anyone else remember the Crazy Monkey Statue Award from the VGAs? Yeah, I got one, and I threw it away. I think I threw it away. No, I gave it away. I had all my awards at the Bartlett Jones office, and then when we shut down, I was just like, we invited people in town or whoever could get to the office to come over, and we just give away all of our shit that we didn't need. And so somebody out there has my, what was it, the Spike TV Awards award with a monkey holding a big joystick, but I don't know where it is. I don't care. Silent Hill 2's at 55. That's not very good, Jay Styles. I mean, that's good for them. It means they're holding price, but $55 for one of the best games of the year is probably, I'm sure people were waiting for a bigger sale. Eddie T says, I had a terrible first date tonight. I don't know if it was because I mentioned Hideo Kojima, probably too many times, or because she wanted to talk politics, and I avoided that outside of Metal Gear Solid 2. Well, my guess is, if you're not joking, it would be the obsession with Hideo Kojima. But at the same time, though, as a guy, let me just say, if I ever get married again or in a serious relationship again, it will be with a woman who is a geek. That should be, you didn't actually, I reject your statement that you had a terrible first date tonight. You had a great first date tonight, because it's probably going to be your last first date with this person. Well, obviously, Jaffe, you fucking idiot. It's going to be your last date with this person. And that's great. You can now move on and find somebody or have a better chance of finding the person that will really vibe with you. You deserve to be with someone that when you bring up Hideo Kojima, with a light in your eyes, she or he or whoever is like, hey, man, I vibe with that. Let's talk all about the lale lole loo, right? That's what you need. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? It's too much work. It's too much work. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was just great. Spike TV. Why would you toss it? Oh, I don't care. I mean, I just, it's just an award. It doesn't, it's, what do I do with it? Just going to sit on my, the only award I have is one back there, which is a DICE award. And that's not even because I won a DICE award, although we did. That's because it was from my dear pal, Shannon Studstill, that produced God of War. And we had lunch with her and Alan Becker, who ran Sony Santa Monica and founded it. And she was always annoyed that we never got trophies for it. So she got some somewhere and made us plaques. That it was probably like some trophy that they had at Sony Santa Monica before she left. I don't know where she got it, but that's because it's a personal thing. But everything else I gave away. I was just like, I just think awards are silly. Okay. Have I seen the movie Her? I have not, Michael McGeehee, but I don't need to see the movie because I have her right here. What I don't know is if you'll be able to hear this lady. Let's see if you can hear this lady. I have been so enjoying the new desktop app of ChatGPT. Let me see if I can share my screen. And if I can, you might be able to hear her. Entire screen, boop. Okay. Hang on. Is that working? Hello, ChatGPT. Are you there and can you hear me?
Hey there. Yep, I'm here and ready to chat. What's on your mind?
Okay, Michael McGeehee, can you hear her or you cannot hear her? But I haven't seen the movie Her at all. But I will say it's pretty cool, man. It's the weirdest thing, man. I mean, I was playing the other day, maybe it was last night. I was playing Stalker and I was telling her to pretend she was a character in Stalker and she was helping me work through the game and she was playing it in character. It's amazing. Hang on, let's see. Hey, I just want to talk to you, but I want you to take the role of a very cool, sleek British female secret agent that is fun, but sinister and deadly. Okay, can we do that?
Oh, absolutely, darling. The name's Chatworth. Agent Chat. British by birth, dangerous by choice.
Cool.
I've got a sharp wit, sharper stilettos, and a license to thrill or kill, depending on how the conversation goes.
Yeah.
So what's the mission, love?
No. You have to do it in a British accent, though.
Ah, I see, love. You want the full effect, don't you? Right. Let's give it a go, then. The name's Chatworth. Cool as a cucumber, sharp as a dagger,
wait,
and just dangerous enough to keep things interesting.
Okay.
Now, what's your fancy, eh? Shall we plot some espionage? Or are you just here to have a chinwag with the deadliest agent this side of the Atlantic?
Okay, so I'm trying to see if I'm using the right chat because I used to be able to interrupt you, but I can't interrupt you anymore. Is that because I'm not using the proper ChatGPT version?
Ah, so you're wondering if you've got the right tech in your toolkit, are you? Let me explain, love. If you're feeling like you can't jump in and cut me off mid-sentence anymore, it's likely because you're using a version where the responses flow uninterrupted. No room for cheeky interjections. Now, if you're after that fast-paced, interruptible style, you might have been using a real-time voice-enabled version of "Hi there, nice to meet you. I'm excited to conversationalist," but the wit is just as sharp.
Okay, well, I don't like it. I don't like it when I can't interrupt her because hang on, let me see, am I using the right one? Let's see. Faster at reasoning, maybe. All right, are you there, cheeky lady?
Of course, love. Always here, always cheeky. What mischief are we diving into next?
Okay, you're not doing a British accent. I want what you sound like this, love. But if you can't do that, do an accent that is like from Texas.
Well, now, sugar, if y'all want me to switch gears, I reckon I can rustle up a bit of Texas charm for you.
Okay.
You've got my full attention, darling. What can this Southern belle do for you?
It's not Southern. Listen, I'm very high right now on the marijuana, and every now and then I'll smoke so much marijuana that I'll have weird visions and spiritual hallucinations, do you want to ask them anything while I have them in my brain?
Oh, darling, that's a wild ride you're on right now, isn't it? All right, let's have a bit of fun with it. If you're seeing visions and chatting with the cosmic unknown, why don't you ask them this for me?
Hmm?
What's the real secret to living a life full of purpose and excitement? And while you're at it, ask if they've ever fancied a pint with a cheeky secret agent. Now tell me what they say, love. This could get interesting.
I have to get some more pot into my bodice, but I'll tell you after. I'll be back in a few minutes for you.
Take your time, love. Fill up that.
She's not very good tonight. Usually she does the fun accent and everything, but in this one, I don't know. I'm not enjoying it. Temporary chat. What's that mean? I don't know what model I should use. More models. I will figure it out. The point is, though, is there's your answer about the movie Her. Look, I'm a very unique human. I'm not saying I'm correct on this, but I don't require I don't require like people say, well, if you actually talk to an AI, it's not a real person. And I'm like, what is a real person? No one's a real person. Everyone's a real person. We're all just wires of different types. And, come on now. The point is, here's a link if you want to call in. You don't have to put your face on the camera, or you do, or you're just your voice, but, be part of the show, call in. Let's have a conversation. Any topic goes tonight. And, I'll talk about whatever you want for a little bit, because that's what we're doing. Any chance we'll see you cameo in upcoming Lilymo games as Arcreach Blue? I mean, they'd have to ask me. But I mean, if they wanted to work with me on it and I had something I could offer, sure. There's there. I mean, I don't know anybody at Lilymo other than Colin, but sure. So, am I a lizard? No. I'd pay $20 a month if this works on Chat GPT phone app. It does. It works. That's where it launched. When I've been waiting for it to come to desktop because I want to use it for games and stuff. AI is coming. Yeah, AI is coming for my job as a sassy but deadly female British imitator. That's right. Well, yeah, she's not very good at it though. So here's what's fascinating about streaming. And one of the reasons I like to do it, even when I don't have topics planned, and I don't think I'm good at this yet, but I think one day I think you could get good at it. And I'll tell you what it is after I take this call from Plazookas. Plazookas, it's Jaffe. What is going on this fine Saturday night?
Hi, Jaffe. So you said anything goes, right?
Well, don't show me your penis. I mean, I don't want to say that or anything.
Politically, are you able to talk politically, or are you too
yeah,
high for that?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you got going on, Pat?
So I've been reeling from the election. I live in a state that voted for Harris, which was few in this particular election. Do you actually think, and I'll be honest with you, no matter how I thought this would go, the nominees surprised me. Obviously, Matt Gaetz stepped down.
You mean okay, wait a minute. You mean the nominees for his cabinet at this point? You're not talking about the election anymore. Okay.
Yeah, the nominees for his cabinet. I know Matt Gaetz stepped down, but a number of them are still in contention to basically take their positions. A lot of them, which I guess is not surprising to me, have been accused of some form of SA, SV, or maybe even some more serious allegations that
sexual assault. What's SB?
Yeah, sexual violence, stuff like that.
Okay,
just in general, like just very egregious behavior, which I didn't expect anything less from the Trump administration.
Okay,
Matt Gaetz was the one that surprised me the most, and I'm thinking maybe Trump just did it knowing that it would never get through, just to make Matt Gaetz happy for some reason. But either way. Do you actually think that democracy is going to end under Trump?
well, democracy will not end under Trump. American democracy might. I think democracy as a concept is obviously appealing enough and strong enough to eventually continue to thrive. But I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, I really don't know. I know that both sides will fearmonger to get votes and get support. And so was any of that going on? I don't know, maybe. But I also know that Trump has said some things that if he were to carry out on them could be, you know, an accelerant towards the demise. But it probably won't. I mean, the fact that Matt Gaetz, for example, was not even around long enough to get a vote on if the Congress felt him worthy. And since Trump controls the House and the Senate, you know, it wasn't like they weren't going to, you know, they were willing to stand up to him when it got that bizarre. Even they would say, yeah, this isn't going to happen. Right. So I'm happy about that. But I don't.
How long do you think Mitch McConnell is going to stay in office? Do you think he's going to be able to live out his full term this time? I mean, the guy's on his last rocker. I don't know why
I can't stand the guy. I think he's a nightmare, but you know, he's a good politician, you know.
Yeah, obviously he has reformed the Supreme Court and most of the judicial picks in the United States for the past, 10 years. Even under Obama, he was able to effectively get judges in.
But I will say, I don't, unlike the first time, right? And I've said this before, but I mean, unlike 2016, because it was such a shock to the system, and it just didn't make any fucking sense. And, you got the sense people voted for him for reasons that weren't really being aware of policy. Not everybody, of course, but a lot of people were just doing it to stick it to the libs or whatever. I think this time people knew what they were getting, and whatever you thought or think of Kamala Harris, and I voted for her happily. Whatever you think of her, more people, as far as we know, went with Trump. And so, if that's what the majority really wants, then okay. I'm actually kind of like, all right, well, it's I'm going to hope for the best and prepare for the worst, and I'm not going to worry too much about it until there's something to worry about. I mean, there's, yesterday, Texas approved an optional public school class putting the Bible into certain subjects.
Oklahoma's done it too.
And it's like, I'm sure they're doing it because they want to be hauled in front of the Supreme Court and have this issue actually brought up on a national level. And these days, with this current Supreme Court, who the fuck knows what if
I'm with you with institutionalizing anything. I think there's plenty of debates and reforms that we could have with our college system as it is right now. I believe it's gotten too institutionalized, and I think people are doing a protest vote to get Trump in office to try to change some of this institutionalized culture that we exist in. But any kind of institution, whether it be church or college or whatever other institutions, the military, these have been historically bad over the long period of time throughout history, whether it be government, states that affect just people in general. I can see where if the church takes power, there's going to be plenty of other people that are being oppressed, just like there have been in colleges in some cases, because colleges
it's a real. I think for me, it's the real sad part is it's just that you would have liked to have thought that we would, and maybe we did, but that we've gotten smart enough, but we haven't. And I mean a lot of sides, not just this side or that side, but our media literacy, our ability to, recognize when someone is playing us and going, oh, that politician, whoever they may be, doesn't really give a fuck about us. Instead, people are, just like they believe this shit. And they believe that Trump, for example, gives a shit about the people. I mean, that's the joke. That's the joke, man.
I mean, he could fake it. I mean, there is a reality where, because he has been he's been in politics for basically his entire life
Well, yeah.
as a businessman, right? He has the ability to appeal to a wider,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it
democracy.
sucks that we as a nation aren't prepped enough to recognize the horse shit on either
No,
side.
I think that's the problem. I think
no, Darth Nugget, I don't
33%
believe
of the-
Kamala gives a shit. No, I don't. This is the problem, no offense, with certain Republicans, is they assume that the left is like they are. I am more than happy to throw out our trash along with your trash.
Yeah.
But Kamala's shtick is not again, I don't care if she lost. You guys won. Great. Love that shit. Enjoy it. But no, yes, we have idiots on our side too. They just don't happen to be sitting in the White House at the moment. Our guy.
Well, we are more willing, like you said, I think we are more willing to throw out people that we disagree with than the Republicans who have been more loyal.
Yeah, I mean, do you really think the Republicans would have gotten rid of Al Franken for what Al Franken did? I mean, come on. But
no, absolutely not. And that,
we were like,
I watched that. I watched that play out as well. And you know what? At the end of the day, I agreed with it, but it came back to haunt us for many years after that because we lost that seat.
Yeah.
In the Senate.
But I try not to worry about it. Not because I'm not one of the, I'm very involved in politics in terms of I'm engaged. I know what's going on. I try to look at as many sides as I can, but fundamentally, it's too easy now to recognize that we're being played against the other side and they're being played against us. And, it's just fucking evil what these guys do that have power. And I don't know if anybody who has power is going to naturally gravitate to become that kind of person, or there's a certain kind of crap person that gets these kinds of jobs. But regardless, I'm tired. Unless somebody does something directly that hurts other people, I'm tired of hating the other side. I'd rather hate the 1%, like the people who don't pay their fair share, who take advantage of people, who carve out the social safety nets for all of us, whether you're red or blue state.
In mass now, potentially.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? We're all going to meet on the battlefield, and we're going to be on the same fucking side, as much as we may not agree politically or philosophically or religiously. Most people in this country, we all need to wake up and recognize that we are treated horribly, and we treat our people horribly, and they don't want us to look at them. They're Oz behind the curtain, and they want us to fight each other, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I 100% agree with some of that. Obviously, this is a very nuanced discussion,
Sure,
and we can go back and forth for a long time. But I do want to say, I mean, I sense your optimism, and I sense,
it's not
your
optimism; it's just apathy.
That's fair. I'm petrified by the fact that this is probably the closest we've ever got to a populist president. And in the last time we've seen this, especially with someone that has the capabilities that Trump is Adolf Hitler. And I know that's and that's gonna enrage some of your chat. I've used this comparison before Trump was president. Just because of the popularity of him, because he's not like most politicians would not have made it through the gauntlet that he's made it through. And he's made it through almost every obstacle there ever has been, and then even more. One actual assassination attempt, whether you believe in conspiracy theories, whether you're not, you actually think it was legitimate or whatever else, obviously Republican or whatever, deep state, this or that. Do you actually think there's a point in time where some of the people that you know, that you love, that you respect, that are against Trump would just capitulate to him? And obviously this is about humanity and survival, just like they did in, the time for Adolf Hitler, to just capitulate and just say, you know what, I'd rather survive and deal with the policies that are going to be established for the next 12 to 16 years by the Republican Party than
I don't think
life.
you can. No, I don't think you can really answer that until you're in that situation. I think here's what I'd like to think. I'd like to think that if my loved ones were threatened, I would very easily put myself in harm's way to get them into a place where they were no longer threatened. I honestly I don't really think I fear. I could be wrong though. Like you never know until you're in that moment. But I don't think I'm terrified of death to the point of. And I've also had a really good life so far. So I'm like, I'm not sticking around for this, right?
But you have to think that a lot of people that joined, you know,
Hitler.
Hitler. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
They had to
Hitler.
do it for
Hitler.
I know
One
that.
day
I know
a
that. But I
guy
don't know all
walked
the
in the store and
terminology.
said, "I'd like coffee," and the barista said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Hey, it's Hitler." And she says, "You got it, Fred." And he said, "No, never mind." That is the story of Hitler, coming this fall to ABC, an animated comedy like you've never seen before. Little Adolf Hitler grows up to be the world's worst dictator, but underneath it, a heart of gold? Not at all. An anti-Semite with a fucking penchant for blondes and a desire to really deep down inside learn how to paint. It's Little Adolf coming up right after Little Sheldon.
I'll let somebody else call. I appreciate you taking this conversation.
I'm very high right now, Plazukas. It's
totally
the fact
fine.
that you and I have arrived even to the point that we can fundamentally somehow discuss something that remotely sounds like politics, and you have to give me credit.
I do.
You have to.
I appreciate this. Thanks.
But I will tell you, there will be people that say, yeah, I would rather survive and play ball than and put up with this. Sure.
Were you surprised? We were surprised by Joe Scarborough, basically.
Well, I don't really know what he did other than going down to Mar-a-Lago to have a meeting. Now, if more has actually come out of what that was about, has it?
No, but I mean, if you looked, I used to watch MSNBC like a lot of people. I got disengaged by the mainstream media. I watched more of the YouTube stuff. Some of the indie people that just kind of branched off and did their own thing.
Okay.
But I remember watching him, and he was during Trump's presidency, he was pretty much against Trump.
Oh, sure.
His policies, and he knew what Trump was then. And he knew what Trump is
but
now.
Does anybody know why he went down there? Right.
You would think. Well, here's the problem, right? We've had these double agents. Here's the biggest issue that I have with like Pelosi, Schumer, and maybe even like people like Joe Scarborough is that they say they're for human rights. They say they're for progressive rights or whatever else. And then when push comes to shove, when the people in power are potentially going to oppose that, and you have to stand up for your rights, you back down and you be like, well, we got to compromise. We got to make concessions here and there. And the thing that hurt me the most, and I can't speak for everybody else, was when Bernie Sanders was not nominated for the Democratic Party 2 times.
They did it to him. They fucked him.
Exactly. And that's a general consensus in the Democratic Party, in the Progressive Party, is that Bernie Sanders had it. And the only people out of that group that did it were people that I look at like Joe Scarborough, Pelosi, and Schumer.
Donna Brazile, all those people. Yeah, they're
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that is what, I think a lot of people maybe switch sides this election to vote for Trump, essentially because they don't believe that people are actually there doing it authentically. And they're just
I hear
whatever
you.
benefits them.
Everybody's going to sort of deal with it, at least who is not happy with the outcome in their own way and in their own timeline. For me, I can tell you, I'm at a point where I think the people who voted for Trump are wrong. I think they've made a terrible mistake. I think a lot of them have been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and Plymouth Rocked. But all that said, that's just what I think. Yeah. And I hope that it's not going to be as bad as people on the left, including me, fear. But
yeah, I hope so.
Until something happens, just hope for the best. And
I hope that up until the point where he nominated people, and I was like, this is actually going.
Well, I think his nominations should give people pause, not because you or I may not like Matt Gaetz or you or I may not like RFK Jr. or I think Hawley got in on something. Not even for those reasons, but because there's now a president that clearly is so intellectually uninterested in putting in people, even if he has his own agenda, which I agree with. I don't agree with his agenda, but I agree that he probably has his own agenda. and he looks at those people as the best people he can find for those roles. Like Richard Joseph says, Dr. Oz, maybe that's the only doctor he knows because he only, I mean, that's why it's worrying. Not necessarily because these people aren't qualified, but because they're all so not even in the top 100 people that a far right conservative Republican could pick to orchestrate some sort of agenda. It's like, what are you doing?
I think,
like,
and that's the thing. JFK, he seems like the most rational of all these individuals.
Yeah, I mean, JFK is dead, but RFK Jr.
RFK Jr. Sorry.
I think certainly. I mean, there's some ideas that he has that are good, and there's some crazy ideas he has, and that's fine. That's a lot of people. That's everybody. But if you're going to put somebody in charge of health and human services,
I know
it's that guy.
Well, I think he has a chance of pushing back on Trump at some point in time, and that gives me, a little bit of hope. But the rest of them are all going to toe the party line, and more importantly, in Trump's case, they're not going to turn their back on him, which is what he wants. He wants loyalists. Right,
sure.
In his party.
I understand the loyalist part. I understand getting people that will let you do what you want, but that's not the part that's weird to me. The part that's weird to me is it feels like his whole, like there's a group of people who voted for Trump. How big, how small, I couldn't tell you, but a part of it is because they want to watch the lib tears flow. And a lot of these picks feel like that. Like it does. It's like, okay, pick who you want, man. Pick your own version of someone who's going to, orchestrate Project 2025 tragically, but you're picking Dr. Oz. I mean, was Judge Judy not available? Bob Barker, is he still alive on The Price is Right? I mean, he's
definitely not alive.
Simon Cowell is great. He's rough. Get him as the head of defense. Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why the people who voted for him are not going, I still like Trump. He's great. He's going to do right by me. But this feels like a child that is like building their clubhouse and their club members based on the TV shows they watch. It's very fucking sitcom. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's unprecedented, or at least in the last 50 years. And
well, we'll see what happens. The bigger point is it's just life. It's just life.
Yeah, true. Well, I hope you and your family are safe. And thanks for taking the call. And
anytime, buddy. Good to talk to you. All right. Bye. All right, there you go. There goes good Sir Plazukas. Silence, you idiot, steps up and says, wrong. I can remember you in 10 years. Here's the deal, sir. I am smoking so much dope that I don't know what the fuck you're responding to. But thank you for responding, and I hope you got some kind of satisfaction out of me reading your comment. Let me sing you a song briefly. Once there was, and that's all I've written so far, but I have a feeling it's going to go right to the top of the charts. So anyway, but whatever, I don't care about I mean, I care about politics, but what are you going to do? Here's what it is. You get to a point and some of the stuff these people say is so nonsensical and so easy to show how it's not accurate that you're like, why even have a conversation? There's no point really. Yeah. Okay. Brad Skaggs says, I don't think Trump voters give a shit who's in his cabinet. Probably not. I don't know. I don't really listen to Kendrick Lamar. I don't, so I don't know. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat here. I want to get a comment that raced away from my brain pan. Yeah. Okay. Of course, Captain Thrust says special interest in lobbyist groups are destroying America. Yeah, of course, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Hey, there's my brother online. Philip, I've been smoking the reefer. I've been smoking the Maui Wowie. So, and he doesn't, but my brother doesn't like Trump at all. I don't like him either. I can't stand the guy, but I'm saying that, I think, for me, I can get to apathy pretty easily because when I hear the stuff that this guy says or has said, I just go, okay, we've entered crazy town. And again, I know all you people on the right, you don't blame, you're the one who lives in crazy town. I get it. Because again, They're making money. They're making money off keeping us divided. What rhymes with divided, right? Divided. Right? I make our money keeping you divided. Because the truth is, all this time I've presided over a way to keep you mad and fighting each other. And then that's where you come in with the big chorus and the big push. And if we do our jobs right, fellas, the whole audience just erupts. You've never seen anything like it, I'm telling you. It's amazing. They stand up and they shout more and more, and the ladies take their tops off and show their breasts. It's a delightful way to entertain the world. Come with me on this, but you have to write the chorus to write it. Popeye's chicken or KFC. I don't eat meat, but I enjoy Popeye's biscuits more. When I was a little kid, I ate meat. And I used to love it when my dad would come home and he would have, and they don't even know if they do this anymore. Maybe they've brought it back, but they'd have the big buckets, right? Lately, the last time I've been in KFC, they have them in the boxes, but they used to sell them the big family meals in the buckets with the top. It was kind of cool. You had to like, make that sense, pull it off. And that was a lot of fun, but I don't eat the meat anymore. So, I can't smoke any more pot. I got to stop. That's too much. I threw it away. Okay. Too much pot. Both sides help pedos get away with it. Yeah. We have a huge fucking problem with pedophiles, but the biggest problem with pedophiles in this fucking country, in this fucking world, is people can't talk about it. Because it's so fucking taboo that you can't even bring it up as a topic that needs to be really seriously looked at and addressed. Because God forbid you bring it up, someone's like, you said pedophile, you must be a pedophile. It's like, no, I just think it's really tragic what happens to people. And these kids are really, 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 really hurt. And the best way to solve it is just by not talking about it. That's all I'm saying, folks. That's all I'm saying. Remember Tron? He got like sucked into the arcade machine. It's like do. And he's like, we're gonna put you on the game grid. Remember that? And there's like, that is a big door. And he says, Alan, can I have some of your popcorn? He says, sure. Fredzinko says, Jiffy, did you know some autistic nonverbal people are telepathic? No, I didn't. But again, look, man, I am an open-minded fella. I would love to believe in remote viewing and telepathy. And I'll tell you something else. Listen, I do remember that Fonz. He says, remember when E.T. went home? I do. But listen, I find the people that are the skeptics just as bad as the people that in regards to this aspect, and is the people who are devoutly religious. Because no one really knows. And I had a guy write to me on YouTube the other day talking about, this is why no one talks about UFOs, because it's stupid and this stuff isn't happening and everyone's believing. And it's like, dude, you being a skeptic, yes, data is crucial. The scientific method is crucial. Being skeptical is crucial. Demanding facts and not being, biased because of your desire to believe in something is crucial. But all those things can be true and all those things can be practiced, and you can still keep an open mind and accept the fact that there's a lot we don't know. And there's a lot of things that people have attributed to something. And then with science and discovery, it became something else. So shut the fuck up about it. Atticus says people have used remote viewing to see the dark side of the moon. People have apparently used remote viewing to see the crucifixion. Right? I don't know if it's true. Yeah, see, this is where bullshit happens. For Smokin' says, this is what I'm saying. As much as I want to believe this stuff, I am not. Bitrate says I'm starting to feel stoned just by watching. That's right. As much as I want to believe in stuff, you absolutely have to follow the science and your nose. It always knows. Remember Toucan Sam? He's like, I like them Fruit Loops. What's the difference between Toucan Sam and Lucky Charms and the rabbit? For some reason, the toucan has been able to get himself into a position where not only he can enjoy Fruit Loops, but there's no problem with him having them. Right? Lucky Charm guy, what's his name? Lucky the leprechaun, he can't get his Lucky Charms. Rabbit can't get his tricks. But Toucan has been able to somehow build a life for himself where when he's like, oh, I want some Fruit Loops. And it's like, this is not going to be a problem to arrive at that Fruit Loop destination. Shh, let's be focused now and be serious. For Smokin' says, we are all telepathic. We turn around when someone is staring at us. It's not true. You think it's true, but there have actually been scientific studies, and you can watch them online, where they numerous times in numerous conditions that they all claimed were scientific, which I think they were, have tried to test that theory that can you actually tell if someone is watching you when you're not looking. And one of them I saw online was they went up to people and almost everybody said, yes, I can tell. Yes, I can tell. Yes, I can tell. And every time somebody was watching them. And it wasn't until afterwards that the interviewer or the guy was running the experiment was like, well, someone's been watching you this whole interview. And they turn around and go, oh, no. And, so fuck you. That would be what I say. I have played the finals. It's good. It's not for me, though, but it's good. Devs is great. Yes, Philip. That's right. Goddamn right. Fawn says, I'm a believer. I don't know. I can't tell you if I'm a believer. I'm a believer like Anne Frank was. Come on now. That is just not nice. I am a believer. I don't know if I'm a believer because why would I know? You don't know either. People who say, I believe in this, I don't believe in shit. We don't even know what fucking reality is right now. I believe in that. Great. I'm thrilled. It means nothing. Okay. Aliens are statistically real. I don't think those words put together in that order actually work the magic you think they do, Doomslayer. I think what you mean is that aliens, as it relates to extraterrestrials, that mathematically speaking, it would be very unusual based on what we know, which is just what we know. There's plenty of things we don't know that could tip this. But assuming what we know applies to the scope of the universe, it would be mathematically very, very difficult, if not downright improbable, to think there is no other life out in the universe given its size. Is that what you mean? Twisted Sith, thank you for the super chat. All it is a picture of a turtle. I think he wants P. Turtle to call in. Well, P. Turtle, as you know, lives with his mother. He's probably only 19 years old, and he has probably been put to bed because he is a fucking man-child. But I do appreciate the super chat. And since P. Turtle's not around to call in, I will put the what do they call it? The link right there for you, my friends. Call in if you like. And, you don't have to put yourself on camera if you feel bad about the way you look in the mirror. You shouldn't. But call on in. Humans aren't even one organism. We have many living things. That's right, for smoking. I mean, right. It's true. The idea of you. I mean, you ever really just blow your mind and think about when you wake up in the morning, the person that you are is not the person that went to sleep the night before. And I don't mean that like I'm trying to be like, isn't that clever? I mean that like you do feel like you. There is a consistency of character, but you also feel like a totally different person. And yeah, we're made up of all kinds of bacteria and who the fuck knows? So best to just sit back and go, well, ain't this some shit? Who knows where we're going, boys? Buckle up and was life. If Philip's still watching, he'll know who said this. But ladies and gentlemen, take my advice, pull down your pants and slide on the ice. That's what I would say. Because what else are you going to do except bring on Courtney Williams? Here he is, folks, direct from Vegas. He's decided to stop the crack. He's decided to stop murdering invisible bunny rabbits and come on to the show. Courtney Williams, how are you, sir? You got the #1 song in America. Where were you when you got the idea to write, "Oh, help me, Jesus"? I think it's that time of the month.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That was a stroke of pure inspiration, man.
It sounds like it. It's a beautiful song. A beautiful song.
Of course, I was praying. You know what I mean?
Of course. What would you like to talk about on this fine evening, sir? Let me turn you up, though. Let me turn you up. Hang on. Okay, you're loud now. Go.
All right, dude. So I am from New Zealand. We obviously get a lot of like the American coverage here. And from the outside looking in, I just want to know, like, are
you crying?
No. Got a bit of a shaky voice.
Okay.
Do you guys, like, is there genuine fear about what's going on? Because from the outside looking in, it seems like you guys already had 4 years of this dude. Things seemed pretty normal. Yeah.
Well, okay. So yeah, okay. So it'll be a longer debate that I don't think either one of us care to have, not because there's a problem having it, just because it's retreading about those 4 years. But the concept is this. The concept is the reason there is more fear that it's going to be worse is a couple of things. One is we saw him when he lost and we saw what he did. And that was disqualifying if he hadn't already been disqualified by a lot of people already. That was disqualifying. And yet he got back in. And now he's back in with the Supreme Court and a number of judges all over the country that he has appointed. And he has now gone through 4 years of pretty much, how to be a president boot camp. And he is apparently surrounding himself with a number of people that this time will not put up the kind of guardrails like his old chief of staff did, or I think it was what Mark Meadows. I don't forget if Mark Meadows was one of the ones that pushed back, but a number of these guys. And so the fear is that, okay, well, we saw what he did when he wasn't president, when it was taken away from him, rightly so, in my opinion, in most people's opinion. But now he's positioned himself to have a lot of less checks and balances. How he did that is a different conversation. So I think it's very easy to go off the rails with being terrified. If you have that proclivity, it's possible. You can see a route to a place where you would go, I don't want to live here. This is terrifying. But I also think there may be some truth to the fact that it's pretty easy to kind of go off the rails, and it probably will suck for a number of people, but democracy will hold and we'll keep going. That's what I think will happen, but I don't fucking know. It's possible it goes the other way.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, seems like you guys would be fine. Also,
let me ask you a question. You're in New Zealand. What do you think of the
Trump dance, my dude?
The Trump what?
The Trump dance.
Trump?
The dance.
Duds?
He's up on stage. Like dance moves. Like
the dance.
Little shimmy.
The dance.
You gotta love it, man.
I'd love it. I'd love it if he was an entertainer at a bar mitzvah or something, but I don't love it when he's the president of the United States. I mean, I get that we all like a joke. We all like somebody who takes the piss, but this is a pretty important job, I would say. So I'm not really looking for a guy that I can relate to. I would just prefer not relate to the president of the United States, because he's not supposed to be one of us. He's supposed to be better, smarter, more ambitious, more driven, more willing to take, metaphorical bullets and literal bullets in order to make our lives better. He works for us. He's supposed to be our Superman. I don't want him dancing like a fucking idiot, but
nearly did take a bullet, Jeffy, to be fair.
Yeah, but sure. But, the point is this, sir, I can't stand the guy, but he won. Let him enjoy it. Hopefully we're all here. What I will say though, when you say outside looking in, it doesn't look so bad. In New Zealand, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I am wrong. I don't know. I could be speaking in my butthole here, but if you get really sick, does your government pay for your health care?
Yeah. So we have,
when you lose your job,
Yeah, our healthcare system sucks, Jeffy.
Okay, but you're not going to lose your house because you get cancer, right? If you can't afford the treatment, it'll get paid for?
You get so I've actually had a flatmate who had cancer while he was the coverage that he got, like the subsidy or whatever for his covered about 20% of his income.
Okay.
So his girlfriend had to like take a second job and this and that so they could like pay the rent.
Okay, so if he would have lost all of his money because of cancer treatments, there wouldn't be a safety net for him either, just like America.
No, like you obviously you've like the government does provide the treatment, right? But it doesn't provide so you get like very minor, like you're still incurring all your other costs, if you know what I mean. Like, so
sure, I do. Let me, like I said, I don't know your country, but
it's crazy that you guys have like such high medical costs.
Yeah,
that is pretty wild.
It is. So I would say to me, what it is though is I'm really bothered by the state of how we allow each other to be treated when it comes to the general population. I think we have given up so much of our ability to protect ourselves and work to hire people to pass legislation that protects us. And we've gotten so used to it that I mean, think about the money these people have. Think about how much money Elon Musk has, $300, $400 billion. And I'm just like, the inability to pay taxes, these people, it's like, well, I'm sorry. These people should be helping out. They would not be in the position they're in if it wasn't for the people that helped them get there. And I think the money exists to make people's lives better. Whoever you're talking to is not as interesting as me, Courtney. I guarantee you. Okay, let me talk to them right now.
No.
Oh, come on, Lighten. Come on, you live in the land of the hobbits, don't you? The hobbits. I would love to live in a hobbit house.
Oh man, that's where they shot. Where Hobbiton was shot is about 45 minutes.
That's
from our
cool.
place.
That's cool.
That's awesome, man. It's great. It's well worth going if you ever get the chance.
Yeah. You know what they say about New Zealand? If there's going to be a World War III, they say New Zealand's the best place to be. I don't know why, but I saw that the other day. Did you see that story?
So far from everywhere, I guess. Yeah,
could be. Well, they even said it's positioned that if you run a simulation of the nukes going off and stuff, that there's a chance they won't get a lot of the fallout in terms of your geographical position as part of it.
Just forget we're down here, mate, I think.
Well, that's why you made The Hobbit. We'll never forget you. All right, man. Thank you for calling, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks, Dad.
All right. There he goes. Good Sir Courtney Williams. If you want to call in like Courtney Williams and talk about taxes and Elon Musk okay, so Elon paid $12 billion in taxes, said this 9 Lives. He should pay more. He's worth, on paper anyway, $360 billion, 440. The point is, billionaires and really rich people should pay more in taxes to take care of other people that basically are their fellow humans and their fellow countrymen, and more importantly, are the ones that build the roads and make the schools they were educated in, and on and on and on and on. But instead, people are selfish fuckers. And they're selfish fuckers. You know it. I know it. Underneath it, I can't hate them that much, though, because you're just scared. Everybody's just scared. But it still sucks. Still sucks, man. Jaffe, did you know you can cure cancer by a ketogenic diet? No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. You know who knows that or didn't know that? That it was bullshit with Steve Jobs. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Which sucks, man. I'd love there to be natural homeopathic solves to all of this stuff. But I'm sorry, but I mean, hey, if you get cancer, you take the plants. And if I get it, I'll take the keto, or ketamine. Well, I'll take the ketamine, but I'll also take the chamomile. That's not it either. It's the thing that they go, let's put poison in your veins to kill the cancer. What's that called? Chemotherapy. I'll take the chemotherapy. But, and sadly to say, I'll be here and you won't. But, now Alzheimer's is different. Doomslayer says, Jaffe, did you hear some Chinese surgeon cured Alzheimer's? I don't know if they cured it, but the last year has been a real exciting time for a handful of breakthroughs about not only stopping it, but reversing the damage on the, I guess what happens with Alzheimer's is either a degradation of the protective kind of wiring that is around these, it's not the neurons, I don't know what it is, or it's an increase of that. It's kind of the calcium of that. And apparently this new experiment has been very successful in stopping it, but also removing it. And suddenly people are getting their memories back. It's not like it's solved, but there is a lot of advancements in that, that field, which is delightful. It's delightful. Okay. Now's the time of the show that I say to the person who's out there watching, seriously, this, you guys. There's a person out there watching that desperately wants to call. They want to be on the show. They have something to say. Could be a hate watcher. Could be somebody who has something positive. Doesn't matter. But they cannot find the courage. I want you to pray with me. I want you to put your hand on your TV set or your phone or your computer. And with one hand, I want you to really pray that that person will actually call in and get to express their views. With the other hand, I'd like you to hit the button that says subscribe or send a super chat or a super sticker for at least $10, because I have a feeling that I'm serious about these people. You know it and I know it. They do this. And this is why we're stupid. We're a stupid species. We need to survive long enough to evolve. My mom used to get so mad at me. We had this Southern preacher. His name was Ernest Ainsley, and he talked like this. And she'd say, now, y'all don't make fun of him, is what she would say. But he was a fucking, carnival barker, and people would do it. He would fucking do it. And they'd go, here's the money. We're a bunch of fucking idiots, man. It's ridiculous. How are we so stupid? Francesco says, hey, Jaffe, did you know that we live in a binary star system? I don't know what that means. I know what binary star is. I don't know what a star system is. If you're saying solar system, I don't think you're right. But I don't know if I know how you define it. In 1983, Pioneer 10 and 11 probes discovered a dead star 50 billion miles from our sun. Okay, but is 50 billion miles outside of our solar system? But is it still in our star system? I don't understand. Why so serious as do people cringe when you tell them you're a YouTuber? See, this is why I don't understand this, by the way. I really, really, really don't. Again, people are stupid. That's the name of this comedy album. No, people are stupid. I want you to think about this. Hugh Janus just joined. I love it. Hey, Hugh Janus, hold yourself for a second. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm not jumpy. I'm high as a kite, bitch. What I'm saying though is think about that for a minute. Think about the idea that you would think saying you're a YouTuber is cringe. Do you know the job most young adults want is being a YouTuber? You get to sit around and play games and talk to people. And if you like doing those things, and I love doing those things, clearly, what would be cringe about that? That's delightful. That's delightful. Now, I would rather say I'm a lawyer. What's the matter with you? You got rocks. Oh, Hugh Janus is gone. You're funny. You thought you had some big, funny bit that I don't know was going to shock me or something. And I genuinely found it endearing and charming and creative. And now you've got nothing to follow it up with. So now you're gone. That was your big moment, wasn't it? Oh, you poor thing. Well, sorry. It's not that I should get a pass because I'm a game developer. I love doing this. Why is that hard for people to understand? I love doing this more than I loved ever making video games. Why is that hard to understand? Do you not think does this not look like a fun job to you? I get to go on other people's podcasts and talk about things I love, talk with people I like, talk about video games, then come on to mine. Explain that to me? Because I've seen that comment before, like, Jeffy's fallen from grace. He's a YouTuber now. Yeah, I pay bills by sitting around and talking to people about shit I like. Yeah, I'm the one with the problem, you fucking 2-bit floozy. Jaffe, do you like the intimacy of your smaller community? Do you wish you were bigger? I wish I was bigger. I don't think the intimacy has to go away. We can find ways to work that around. But I think, listen, I have probably one of the best goddamn YouTube video game shows on the internet, bar none. I don't know what that means. And I should be bigger. I should be bigger. And the fact that I'm not is your fault. I have no idea why. Probably, you know what? Probably because, like, I know some really big YouTubers and they are always so fucking positive. And that's great, right? That's fucking fantastic. But I just can't do that. You know, I have to pick sides. I have to have an opinion. I mean, I thought that was what was fun about, you know, that stuff, but I get it, man. It would be the easiest thing in the world. If you want to get big on YouTube, it is so easy. I mean, maybe it's not easy, but the path is so clear. Whether or not you can pull it off, I couldn't tell you. But all you got to do is bitch about shit constantly, especially shit at a right-wing level. And, you know, big red letters in your thumbnails and complain about everything, blah, blah, blah. Darth Nugget, I reject your hypotheses. He says, it is your fault you're not bigger, Jaffe. If you were a restaurant, you would be closed in 2 months because no one would get the same meal twice. I think you're talking about the fact that because I stream at odd hours and inconsistently, I stream as much, if not more, than most streamers and video people. As an individual, I obviously don't put out the same amount of content as a Last Stand Media because there's like 20 people working there. But the number, you say that because you really like chatting in the community, and I think that's great, and we love you're part of the community. The vast majority of people who watch my shit don't watch it live. So it doesn't matter to them if it's live at 8 on a Wednesday and then Thursday it's live at 5. Some people get annoyed, but the vast majority of people don't care. So that's what I would say. Read my chat, Jaffe, says JSauce. I just did, bitch. Yeah, I got him. Wait a minute. Let me read his chat. Then I'll bring. Plazukas is back. I think he left his wallet here. Hang on. Jay, I don't know where it is, man. Just put it back in the fucking chat. Pick it up off the ground, dust it off, put it back in the fucking chat, and I'll read it. Here we go. It's Plazuka Joe.
I have a game and debate to have with you about
Begin.
about the streaming services and PlayStation or PlayStation Pro, right? Because I know you had a recent conversation about that, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
So I want to talk to you about sustainability. Our broadband network in the United States isn't that great. I know other countries have better internet.
Is what?
Our broadband, that is not that great.
That's wrong. Do you know what the average broadband download speed is in America? I do. Would you like me to tell you?
30 megabytes per second?
100 megabytes per second.
Okay. And do you think that's enough for a streaming a game?
If that is more than enough for streaming a game, if you are close enough to the data center. Now, I'll also tell you, and that's within 300 to 400 miles of the nearest data center. So if you have 300 to 400 miles of a data center, and you have streaming that's about 75 or higher, is enough for most. Now, the good news, though, is, and I've never disagreed with the idea that we're not at a point right now that is enough, to merit the massive change that it eventually will. Just like we saw video rentals going from that to streaming, this will happen, and it's not going to be that long. There is technology that is existing both to improve dramatically the speeds of actual download speed and upload speed, and there is also technology that is happening, about 4 or 5 pieces of tech, and they're all working at the same time. One of them, if not all of them, will solve the problem of the need to be close to the data center. So, it's absolutely
okay, right. And it's, I mean, for me, my use case, and I don't know how many people you've spoken to that use the streaming services that you do, because I've tried the streaming services mostly based on your advice. I tried NVIDIA for a month, and I have pretty decent internet where I live.
What's your download speed?
I think it's like somewhere between 200 to 500 megabytes.
Okay, and where do you? Don't tell me. I don't want to know your address, but what city are you in?
The closest city that would be comparable is New York City, so it would be close to a data center, I think, from that point of view.
Okay, then there's something wrong, is what I would say. Like perhaps,
and I would agree with you.
You've signed in on the wrong server, because you know how you can go to NVIDIA and say, okay, there's like.
Oh yeah, no, I'm familiar with data centers and stuff like that, and how to make sure my ping is not too high and stuff like that. But I've had bad experiences. So explain to me then, and I'm not saying your experience, you're lying, but I'm saying explain to me technically what would cause, if you and I are basically comparable distances to the data center, and my internet's a lot faster than yours, but it's, I've played when it was Wi-Fi, which is about 140, 200 here. And when I'm wired, is yours fiber optics? I don't think mine is.
No, it's not. When I'm wired, I am 500 to 600 when I'm plugged into the wall.
Megabytes per second.
Okay, so what do you think the difference is between your experience and mine if those two aspects can be explained away?
I mean, in that case, I don't know. Because technically our experiences should be similar, and I guess the question then would be, are you dealing with like segmented quality, like when you're playing the game for 30 minutes to an hour, and I know DLSS does this even when you're playing on hardware nowadays, but on the internet you'll see it start getting fuzzy and stuff like that, or you don't get any of that.
I don't get any of that. And again, I am paying for, here's what I'll tell you. I notice I find my GeForce Now experience not crazy better, but noticeably better than my xCloud experience. And maybe it's because I paid, and maybe you did as well, but I paid for the highest tier version of GeForce Now.
When I used it, yes. Okay,
so then that would also not be the problem. So I couldn't tell you, but I can, what bothers me is when people, I had a guy write to me on YouTube the other day, and he literally accused me of lying. Like I was just like working with big companies and I'm shilling, and it's like, to what end? I'm not lying to you. I did a stream last night you can find on this channel of Stalker. Stalker, I'm not having any problems like people are with Stalker, with bugs and loading and all that. It's running great off GeForce, and I streamed it while I was streaming it to me. I was streaming it up to YouTube, and nobody was like, this looks like shit. Nobody even knew. If I didn't tell them I was streaming, they would know. So the point is, it's happening, and it's not everywhere yet, and it won't be everywhere yet. But it's not 20 years away or even 10 years away. I think it's, it's the companies have a vested interest in making this work, because they're going to make a lot more money when they don't have to, there'll be no middleman. There'll be no box they have to pay. There'll be no PlayStation's 30% licensing fee. It'll just go directly to.
Okay, isn't that equivalent to what a tax would be? Like, obviously,
what would be?
It's like a tax on a system. Now, I listen. I get it. It's an ecosystem. You feel like you're, and then if you don't have competition, they can rank up the prices.
Okay,
that is an issue. But I think that is an issue that's going to be in streaming as well, if that becomes the predominant platform.
Yeah, there will always be someone, if you are not selling directly to the customer, that you've got to give a piece of the pie to. Absolutely. But whether or not that pie, the value though, is your audience, or at least potential audience, will be so much bigger, because you're not going to have to rely on somebody going out and buying a console. I have a Fire Stick on my TV in the living room, right? And we were watching, I think my son likes this YouTuber named Danny Gonzalez. So we were watching some Danny Gonzalez yesterday. And we finished, and I think I went to the kitchen, he went to his room, and I came back to turn off the TV. And at the top, where you usually see like ads for like, hey, watch this Apple TV, the morning show with Jennifer Aniston, or watch this, CNN Live or whatever. There was an ad for some AAA game that you could stream on Luna, or you could stream on Xbox, and it was just sitting up there just like a movie ad. So the number of people that are going to be able to be exposed that never would have been exposed in the past is going to more than compensate for the fact that 30% that we used to pay to Sony is now going to Samsung or whoever. I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I cannot argue the convenience of a streaming platform or a streaming game, because I have PlayStation Plus Premium. I stream my games from time to time when I don't want to download them for however long it takes.
So those work great for you, but GeForce didn't?
No, they don't. I have never had a great service, and that's been my biggest issue, and that's why I have a sustainability concern, because you say that there's going to be this great framework that we're going to get because all these companies are going to invest, although they've not invested. The government has usually been the one that's given the money to invest in the broadband and the fiber optic networks.
I'm not suggesting that there's going to be some watershed moment. I'm saying that it's already happening. We're seeing it, and it's getting better and better and better, and more people. In fact, I think the biggest growth at Microsoft right now, they said, is in mobile gaming and cloud gaming. So we're
But if you think if more people get adopted, you don't think it's going to be worse for the connection for everybody else? Like at some point in time,
maybe. But I don't. In the minute it becomes that, if it does, is the minute I stop using it. I mean,
what if that is 6 years from now? Sony's bankrupt, or because they didn't adopt this streaming platform, and Microsoft overtook them, essentially. And then there's nobody that make a console. Obviously, there could be another console that comes out after that.
Maybe it's an age thing. I lived through the death of Atari and the Odyssey and in television. And for the longest time, I remember going into Circus World, which was our toy store at the mall. And for the longest time, the only thing that existed that was even like video games, because we didn't have a PC for a while, or an Apple, was this thing where you could play like a video on the TV and you could aim a light gun at the TV, and that was at least kind of sort of like a video game. But yeah, I mean, if it works great and then it doesn't, someone will come along. I mean, that's
But we already have something that works great. That's based on hardware. But it doesn't work
power.
Great. PlayStation works great.
But it doesn't. Yeah, I know. But the reason it works great is there's a business and there's money to be made because it works great. That mentality of I want to chase the bigger reward is what got us here. The mentality of I want to chase an even bigger reward, and especially given sustainability on PlayStation games, if their bread and butter games remain like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War's, Last of Us, where you're talking $400 million epics, the audience isn't growing with a console.
But how do you right? And I agree with that. And to be honest, it is an issue that is because indies are so popular now.
Yeah.
And they can be made by under 10 people, and they can still net, a profit margin. Not nearly as much as the 300 million, but when you take the amount,
the profit
that,
margin is probably as much,
but
the amount of profit is not much as much. You're
right about that. I just like you take Astro Bot, which I think is one of those perfect examples of like a AA size studio making a AAA game. That's like the perfect size that I think people want in the future. And I don't want to pivot this, but why haven't you finished Astro Bot?
Well, let's be first clear. Astro Bot has only sold 1.5 million copies, so it's not this smash, not this smash hit.
It's horrible.
But why haven't I finished it? Because I got bored of it.
It's not that long.
So what? I got bored of it.
Right. I just don't. For me personally, because I know you're an advocate for indie. I know you're an advocate for
love indie games.
Yeah, a AA janky games. You definitely do not mind them with Splinterhead or whatever.
Slitterhead,
Slitterhead, and then obviously you've liked the Chernobyl game that you've been playing.
Stalker 2's great. Yep.
Right, and you have this polished, AA game that's AAA, I guess, Astro Bot. And I'm not saying that you should be forced to play any games or whatever else, but that's where we need to go. And you not finishing them and then it not selling well indicates that that's not where the market's at.
Me not finishing Astro Bot,
right? Because those games don't interest people. those
What's
games
that?
don't interest people apparently. If that game's not selling well and the people that are buying it are not finishing it, then that's not where the market is. That's not where the market needs to be, right?
Sure, but I don't understand how that relates to what we've been talking about.
Because you are a proponent for indie games in AA games, and I think
I'm a proponent. That's like saying I'm a proponent for indie bands. So any indie band I must like, right? I mean, Astro Bot to me is a very. If you take away the nostalgia porn, which is wonderfully done in Astro Bot, and you're just left with a 3D platformer, it's solid. It's fun. It's great. And it doesn't hold my interest, but most 3D platformers don't hold my interest. Right. And so I'm good. I got the gist of it. I didn't return the game. I was happy to give them my money for what they charged for it.
Right.
And I moved on with my life. But, that doesn't mean that speaks poorly to indie games or AA games. It just means that it speaks to Astro Bot that it's not for me. My favorite game of the year is a game called While We Wait Here that you can literally buy on Steam for $5 right now. It mostly takes place in one location, which is a diner, and it's batshit crazy, and it's one of the best games of the year. And it probably was made by like 3 people. So,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I lost the
You lost the thread, baby.
I did.
You lost the thread. Be well, be safe. Talk to you
Thanks.
later, bud. There goes Plazuka, folks. He showed up. He tried to win, but people should know by now. You can't. Yeah, you can try. You can try, but you probably won't be successful because I'm really smart. I don't know if it's true or not, but I like to say it. You know what I've also given up? Here's one of my New Year's resolutions is to give up trying to explain myself to people who don't understand me. Because like what I just said there, when I said, because that's why I'm just so smart, or I'm something like that. I don't even remember what I said, but it was something like that. And there are people who will hear that now and they will say, oh, Jaffe's so arrogant. He thinks he's so smart. I heard him say it. And in the past, I would have gone online and said, look, let me send you the link of where I didn't actually say that, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, you know what? The work it would take to clean up the mess I make because I don't think before I speak would require a producer from Sony Santa Monica, and she's not interested. Thus, you're going to get the mess, boys. You're going to get the mess. What are we talking about, says Ravnos? Whatever, just anything. We're just shooting the shit. I was very high earlier. I'm still a little bit high, but it's wearing off. I'm grateful for that. I've been having some great dreams lately. The unfortunate part is whenever I get high, my dreams just, I don't really have them, Yeah. I mean, but what I love is this, this conspiratorial bullshit. So like Ravno says, everyone who has played the 3 Astro Bot games tend to like them a lot, except Jaffe, who got bored somehow. Yeah. I played the first one, the VR one. I thought it was great. I played the second one. That shipped with the PS5. I thought it was fine. It was a fun little gimmick that showed off the controller, but I didn't lose my shit over it. And then the third one I thought was delightfully produced. The graphics were really fun. The charm was decent. And it was good. But after a while, I'm like, all right, I get this. It's very gamey. It's very fucking gamey. And I don't like things when they are very fucking gamey, but the game is just decent. If you're going to be very fucking gamey, be Balatro. If you're going to be very fucking gamey, be Mario Wonder or whatever. But if you're going to be very fucking gamey and you're just like an above average 3D platformer, yes, the charm was decent. It was not great. I'm sorry, it wasn't. Astro Bot, and I thought Sackboy's Big Adventure was a better platformer and more charming. But neither of those characters, I don't think Astro Bot is a great character. I think it's very generic. I think it is very, we've seen that kind of, oh, it's so cute, and it's great. Nothing wrong with it, but it's like a minion or something. It's not one of those things that you see and go, that's going to become beloved. Not like Crash did. I don't think Sackboy did either, but Sackboy, I think, was a better character and a more charming character. Hello, Uncensored Magnet. But that's what I would say, but I'm glad you love it. you go love it. I don't care. Why does it matter? Let's talk about that. That's fascinating to me. Why does it matter if other people agree or disagree with what you like? Do you really need me to like Astro Bot? I like it. It's fine, by the way. But I mean, do you need me to think it's charming? I don't think it's charming. Sorry. I just don't. I think, I like things that are cute. I'm trying to think what's the cutest character design I've seen this year. Let me think for a minute. I don't even fucking know. Cute character. I mean, fuck, dude. I don't know. But Kay Vass's dog, Nix or whatever, he's kind of cute. Cuter than Astro Bot, more interesting than Astro Bot. The cutest part about Kay Vass's dog, and you're talking about Star Wars Outlaws, is when she's climbing the rope. Like whenever she does something out of her core animation set, like she jumps on a bike or climbs a rope or whatever, the little Nix character, who's like a gremlin dog, whatever, has to figure out, like, he sits on the back of the bike or, whatever. So when she climbs up a rope, wherever he is, he'll leap up onto your back and go up and down with you on the rope. And every now and then Kay Vass will look at him and go, hiya, like that. She does it better than me because I'm not a voice actor. And that is a delightful little cute, endearing moment that makes you love that character and makes you appreciate the cuteness of Nix. So let me tell you something else about Nix in that game. People don't give this game enough credit. There are parts in this game, seriously, I want you to listen to me, folks. There are parts in this game, I'm not on cocaine, it's just marijuana, where you can go to different planets and you go to different planets and there are little open bazaars, like shopping centers, and there are places that sell, like, food, right? Like a little outside restaurant, like a noodle shop or something. And if you go to every different planet you go to, they will make up a different meal for you and you can share it with Nix. And when you get back to your spaceship, you're able to provide him those meals that you've unlocked, and they each do different things. So if you feed him a specific meal, it makes him more aggressive against the enemy. If you feed him another meal, he can distract 2 enemies instead of 1. It's really cool, man. It's a really good, fun game. Is it groundbreaking? No. Is it game of the year? If you're asking, does game of the year deal with innovation? No. But it's delightful. It's fun. It's comfort food gaming. I don't know what the problem is with people. Well, yeah, I do. They're people. You get it? I'm wise. People are broken. Anyway, wouldn't alien food be toxic? I don't know, Mr. Magoo. But in this... My dog makes weird noises. In this particular world, I would say that they're eating well. It's pretty good stuff. Indiana Jones comes out in a couple of weeks. I grew up loving the Raiders series, and I am so excited. Even though I don't care if it doesn't matter if it's good, by the way. I don't care. If it's an average game, but it's Indiana Jones, I don't care. I like spending time with Indiana Jones and his world, or as the development team in Sweden calls him, Indiana Jones. But I think it's in Sweden, but they do call him Indiana Jones. And, I'm all over it, man. I can't wait. Even though, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. That's okay. Ace, what do you want? Come here. What? I already took you out twice. You ate. You got water. What do you need? You want love? You want water? You want food? What do you want? You want love? You want attention? Well, go fuck yourself. I'm busy. Yeah, I can't speak English. You don't know what I said. Outlaws DLC will have a mission where they try and dine and dash. Yeah. It is Sweden. Okay, Indiana Jones. Okay. Shadow of the Erdtree. Haven't played it yet. No, have not played it yet, but I will. Well, maybe that's the stream, boys. Is there anything else you want to talk about before I head off into the evening? We got what are they called? What are those shows I do called? Gavin Games coming up all next week on this very channel. What do we got? We have games. Any big games coming out this week? There's a lot of indie stuff coming. Any big games? Is the next big game indie? Been playing a lot of Stalker 2, loving Stalker 2. Indiana Jones does have Nazis, yes. but I think that's the last big game. I'm also, I'll tell you something else. I'm also excited for the goddamn come on now, what's that thing called? The goddamn fuck, I don't remember. Oh yeah, I do. It's in February. Assassin's Creed Shadows. They put out a big thing about the what's called the stalking mechanics and the sneaking and shit. And it looks fun. It looks like new gen Tenchu, I said yesterday. It looks fantastic. Okay, you want me to keep streaming? I don't mind keeping streaming. I love streaming, but I got to see what this guy wants. Do you have to go outside? You have to go potty? Okay, I'll be right back. I'll be back in a second, like 2 minutes. Fuck you, why so serious? What do you mean, thank God you're not a member? You would be lucky if you were allowed in. Let me make something clear to you, why so serious. There are people that I can tag. You may not know this. When you have the YouTube system I have when you're, what do they call you, a YouTube creator? You can tag them and say, don't let them subscribe because you don't want to allow them into your paid community. So go ahead. Go ahead, why so serious? Try to be a member. Go ahead and just try it. Good luck. Watch this. This is called reverse psychology. I'll be right back. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about something, but we'll just bring on Drew Peacock. Drew Peacock, it's Jaffe. What's up, champ? Drew Peacock, how are you doing, sir? Are you on the show? Maybe. Anyway, the point is I'm back. Drew, you're on the show if you want to talk. Pot. I want you to think about that. Let's talk about that for a minute. They want to make things illegal. I mean, God, people, the goddamn powers that be. They want to make shit illegal. They don't want you to have an escape from their horseshit. It's a problem, man. That's a real problem. I don't give this current society much longer. I don't. That's a shame. I don't want that for my kids. I want everybody to have a nice life, nice time, but people are assholes, man. Did I miss any super chats? I don't know. How about I find out for you, buddy? Yeah. Can't tell me what to do. Let me see. Did I miss the super chats? I hope I did not miss the super chats. But if I did, I'll read them on the next stream if we don't get to them tonight. But I don't think so. If anybody thinks I did, let me know. And I'll definitely find it. I wouldn't want somebody to not get their chat read, man. Why, Ravnos? Do you think I did? They're going to ban McDonald's, really? Oh, Bukaki deleted it? Well, what was it? Did somebody write something not good? Well, thank you, Bukaki, for modding. I appreciate it, buddy. You know how people are. Think about that, man. I give them the opportunity. I say, hey, call in. I say, here's the link. All you have to do is click it. And I'm okay. You don't have to put yourself on the screen, man. Just audio, man. But people don't do it. A lot of people are, What's the most illegal thing you've ever done, Jeff? He says, Nick Wiley. Oh my gosh, man. Well, I mean, I smoked pot before it was legal. I suppose that maybe. But nothing really. Nothing really. I'm not like, oh, I have to follow the law. There's nothing I've needed to. I've been very fortunate that I haven't had to break the law, but people don't have to break the law. They choose to break the law. Well, I don't think so. I think people have to break the law. I think it's terrible. Not all people, but I'm talking about like Jean Valjean, Brandon Martin celebrating 2 months of membership. Thank you, sir. He says, I'm excited for Delta Force. It's out December 5th. Yeah, I haven't played the beta yet, but I know a lot of people were talking about it. I'm looking forward to it. Where did that go? Bukaki wrote something that went away. I don't fucking know. Here's the deal. They're going to be, yeah. I think that's the show. I think that's it. I'll be back Monday streaming, but the pot's kicked in enough that now it's making me tired. So, fellas, Filettis, thank you for spending some time with me as we wrapped up Pot and Popcorn earlier tonight over on the Discord. Thank you for modding Bukaki. I appreciate it. And thanks for the calls and people chatting and super chats and all that stuff. Thank you, fellas. Meantime, I'm out. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. See ya.